we'll come on in here and sit down and on in and just going in and shut this door and then I come back out and get my can. On that side of the road, right? All right, so let's take this. We've covered some, but in closing, I want to think about this. If you had to look back down the road at young Mike, okay, and you gave young Mike some advice, what would you give him advice? What would you tell him?
You know, if you changed anything, the bigger picture might change.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I've thought to myself, what would you change in your life? You know, what would you do differently? And you know, a lot of things. Mostly, what I would have done is probably be nicer to people.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I think I've been mean to anybody, but I've probably been a lot nicer to. And don't take the, what is the old saying? Don't sweat the little things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, as young people, we want everything quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this building here, you would have just thrown everything in here and you'd still been in there. When you get older, you want to kind of relax, think about things more, and get everything proper and in its place. And I used to let things bother me. You know, I couldn't sleep if I thought somebody was mad at me.
All right.
If I thought somebody had something against me, I couldn't sleep. It just upset me like crazy. Then I got to thinking, you know, as a man told me one time, he says, "Don't worry about things you can't change."
Yeah. Well, I've said this. I studied the habits of highly effective people one time for a year. And one of the big things I got out of that, life is only, and I've shared this before, life is only in two parts. There's two parts of life. There's an area of influence and an area of concern. And there's things that we can be concerned about that we can't really change.
Yeah.
But there's some things we could really change. And whatever attention we pay on that area of our life is what's going to happen in our life. If the stuff we really can be concerned about, and we really can influence and change, if we look at those things and give less attention to the other area.
About 30 years ago, I was at your church, Church on the Rock. 30 years ago, does that sound about right?
That's about right.
You preached a message that I get a lot of credit for now, but I always give you the fine print. This comes from John Dash right here. You preached a message on power words. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
And I have lived off those power words.
Yeah.
I have been in situations that you know, with managers, and the guy with me would be in all kinds of trouble for doing the same thing I did, and I wouldn't be in trouble. And he said, "How come they don't get mad at you?" I said, "Because I don't fight back. I don't argue.
Yeah.
When somebody gets on to me, I just say,
Yeah.
And they get on to me again. Well, you get on to me again. What about that? You know,
I said,
I take, yeah.
Well,
and then I use a Dennis Muncy, and I look at him and go, well, boy, what about that? and just, you know, your response, the Bible says, let your response be yea or nay, all else is sin. And if you just take and not get excited about everything.
Absolutely.
Just relax. Somebody said, well, so-and-so talked about you, and you were preaching to them and smiling. I said, because them talking about me does not do any harm to me. It just harms them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's okay whatever they want to say about me, because God knows. And so if I can just realize what goes on everywhere, you know, the Bible says that we're hidden in Him. So if I'm hidden in Him, how's anything on the outside of Him going to be bothering me?
Yeah.
They can't see me. They don't even know I'm there, because I'm hidden in Him. And when we get to the point where we can just relax, man, if I knew that, I wouldn't have all this gray hair right now.
Well, you know, I've had a lady straighten me up one time, telling me what all I'd done wrong.
Yeah.
She was laying it to me, and I stopped her at the end. I said, "Ma'am, the first thing I'm going to tell you is I appreciate you taking time to be so concerned about me. And the next thing I'm going to tell you is, now, some of the stuff you say about me is true. I mean, I ain't going to tell you that all that stuff is a lie. I mean, I'm not the best about stuff. Yeah. But not all of it is true." I said, "You know, some of those things you're saying are not quite as true as you think they are, but people get so tense and nervous. If you're not hitting me in the nose, you're not hurting me all that bad. I can take a little bit of the other stuff, can't you?"
Right.
So if you told young Mike anything, you tell him lighten up just a hair bit.
Relax.
You relax just a little bit, take a deep breath, you know, and you know, I'll share this with you in closing. And I've shared this before. I share this with people all the time. Are you a firecracker or a bullet? Same amount of gunpowder goes in a firecracker, goes in a .22 bullet.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is focus.
Right.
A firecracker will scare, explode, bring a little grin every once in a while, okay? But a bullet can feed a family.
Right.
Okay? So what we have to decide in our life is what we're going to do. Are we going to have direction? Are we going to focus this energy we got today? How are we going to do it in our life? And I think that's a challenge.
So we're just going to talk about it.
Are we just going to do that?
Just make noise.
Yeah. You know, a month or so ago when I started doing these interviews, I didn't have any idea about, I said, I just told my wife, I said, I believe there's people out there like you that have wisdom and have words of encouragement. And I feel like it's my job to get that to other people.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the simplicity of what I'm talking about. I just want to transfer that information that you have, that part of your life that will help somebody else with their finances, with their marriage, with those things, and I think that's important.
Right.
And I enjoy it.
Yeah, as far as finances, I've heard it from so many different angles. I had a man who was a millionaire tell me one time, he says, you never spend your own money. And I've had people in the same situation saying, you never borrow money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, but I think the best words I ever heard is work harder or work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. My grandson told me that the other day when he was carrying some stuff in. I had him doing some stuff, and he said, I'm working smarter, not harder. I said, okay. But it's the truth, too. I mean, and I think what happens is I read a book on a guy one time who lived for 30 years off $130,000. He lived for 30 years. And the focus of it, what he said was, if you'll concentrate more on what goes out than what comes in. Most people will not concentrate on what goes out. They're always trying to get more in. Yeah. And if we will take time and do that and say, hold on just a second. When I look at stuff and I think and I've got family that I talk to when I'm talking to them about their finances, I said, let's take a look at what's going out. I'm not concerned about what's coming in.
Right.
Let's see what's going out. And if we could save this money here, we can cut this expense there and do this. It's like switching internet companies. I had Spectrum forever, okay, and then I had Verizon phones, okay, and this is not a commercial, but so I had this forever, and it kept getting higher. My cell phone did with Verizon, kept higher and higher and higher, and my cable bill kept getting higher and higher and higher. And I said, gee whiz! And all of a sudden I told my wife, I said, we're going to have to make a change, and we went to another company, and we've been there for I guess a couple of years now for like just a flat $50 a month for our cell phone. And I thought, we saved a couple $100 a month by the time we got done with it, but I didn't want to make a change. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to make a change, but sometimes you got to look at stuff to say, what am I going to do? I'm going to make a change in my life.
Sometimes it has to hurt a little bit.
It does. Well, I'll tell you what, I appreciated Mike being with me, and he's a friend and a blessing, and he'll bless you if you ever see him out there. He's a blessing. Does a lot of cooking and videos. If you see those, go on there and tell him what he's doing wrong. Say, Mike, I think you need to straighten up.
Need all the help I can get.
You're doing it upside down. Can you cook on an electric stove?
Yeah.
I can't. I have to use gas. I cannot cook on electric. I can use the electric oven, but electric stove throws me all off.
I prefer a crock pot, though.
Oh, I love Instapot. I use Instapot a lot. Crock pot. I've got all sizes of everything. I mean, you know how that is. Pots and pans. I'm very finicky about my pans. And Connie, who's been with me forever, for 30 years.
Right.
For Christmas, she bought me these set of pots and pans at Ollie's. Okay, and I said, "Oh Lord, I don't want. Why did she get me these? I'm very finicky about my pans and how I want them, and I swear they've been the best set of pans, and they're not. And I've seen pots and pans for $2,500 for a set, but this set I've used them. They wipe up good. Yeah, I made the change.
I gotta have some.
Well, all right. We appreciate you watching. You've been watching, and a lot of you wondered this and wonder what the heck's going on. We're in a shed. A shed. It's 8 foot by 10.
A well organized shed.
Yeah. It has to be.
I'm impressed.
It's got all my children. Their inheritance is in here. It's circular sauce.
And they're going to call everybody. We're going to come in with the little blue tape.
They'll
put prices on everything.
They'll sell everything. I know they will. That's crazy. All right. God bless you. Appreciate you watching Just from the Shed. Adios.